Hi everyone, it's me again. The chapter for Black Clover is finally out. I've been waiting for a long time to read it. As you know, it ended in a pretty a good cliffhanger. Also, they went to break, and now they're gonna go for another break. So let's get started. The chapter begins half a year ago. We see that Magna is begging Zora to teach him his way of fighting. As you know, he was unable to learn the Heart Kingdom's mana method because his magic power is far too low for him to handle the technique. And also, he just doesn't want to fall behind and be a burden to the Black Bulls. Surprisingly, Zora agrees, and Zora takes him to his secret base, where you see that literally the whole wall is covered with a bunch of paper of multiple techniques, writings, etc. Zora explains that he doesn't use the mana method. As you know, the mana method is created in an instance, and it's combined during battle. And for that particular fighting style where they have to use the mana method, lots of magic power, sense, and adaptability is necessary. And unfortunately, that's something that Magna and neither Zora have. He explains that his way of fighting, he has to draw or create a formula ahead of time. And then he points out very interesting things about a little bit about the mana method. As you know, when Magna tried to pull off the mana method, he was kind of able to draw a little bit, but it didn't stay there for too long. Zora explains, even though a mana method is created by someone with weak magic power, it doesn't necessarily mean it disappears. Therefore, he can create an absurdly complicated formula by spending a lot of time on it. However, it's not going to be very easy. Magna has to learn more specifics about mana and humans. You know, there's like this connection between mana and humans, and also like attributes. We then see, as I stated, is not an easy task. We literally see Magna struggling very hard to be able to pull off a sort of style of fighting. And then Magna gets an idea. He understands that compatibility and attributes are a major factor. As you know, as we see him kind of struggling, he says this side had an amount of magic power, and that's where he gets the idea of the chain. You know, he's like, oh, this only this I had amount of magic power, and so you know that's the idea. And Zora, he thinks it's not impossible, but it will take time and a lot of dedication, because it doesn't look like it's gonna be easy. As you know, he even wanted to do the technique against Zenon when he was attacking the Black Blues base, but Zora stopped and telling him like, dude, you're not ready, you haven't perfected the technique yet. Then we go back to the fight with his awesome cool technique, Secret Flame Magic, Soul Chain Deathmatch. As you remember, he connected himself with the chain, to Dante, and with that change, he divided the magic power between the two. They even give like a nice example to kind of like explain it a little better. Let's say Dante's magic power is like 1,000 and Magna's is just a 2. So with the change, it just splits it evenly. So it's like 502 and 502. 501 and 501. God, I'm not very good at mental math. Forgive me. We also learned that the chain has like some weaknesses. Magna says that the chain is technically their soul itself. If Dante were to kind of like rip it off or like just shake it off, he would do an incredible amount of damage to himself, and he says he could even drive himself crazy. Like that's how I was predicting on the last chapter. I was wondering what are the weaknesses in it. I mean, could there be a possibility of Magna getting corrupted by Dante's magic? Would it be dangerous if someone were to break it or try to pull it off? and we see that it does have some dangers. But I wonder if the danger is just to Dante itself. I mean, would that also affect Magna in a way? Then we see Jack, who's like completely surprised, and he's like, there's no way for a peasant to be able to pull off such a technique. Zora, however, says it isn't impossible, but he even gives us even more details about some of the weaknesses that this technique has. He says that attacks from the outside will be a disturbance, a hindrance with a magic effect. So this basically means that Magna has to fight by itself without any assistance whatsoever, or else the effect of the magic he's pulling off will, I'm not sure, would be toned down, would it disappear, who knows. I still have many questions about this soul chain technique that Magna literally pull off right now. Then we continue seeing the fight against Magna versus Dante. We see that Magna is able to do some injury to Dante, but of course Dante, he's not gonna just literally just stand there and get attacked. He starts using his gravity magic on Magna. He uses gravity impact and presence of the Demon King. But of course, as you know, the power has been divided evenly. Magna can't literally withstand the attacks of Dante's demonic magic, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe it. It's just surprising that he's able to literally resist. And then we see Dante starting to use his body magic to heal himself, and I'm like, God, of course, that's right, he healed himself. However, Magna doesn't care that he's able to heal himself. He continues punching him. You can literally see on the Magna panels, like, he starts like almost boxing against him, and on the last panel he finally manages to knock him down to the floor. Of course, the fight is still not over. I still think something bad is gonna happen. I mean, who knows? The power has been distributed equally, but Magna already stated the risk of if Dante were to rip that chain or try to break it, it'll be very bad for him. I still don't know if it will also affect Magna. He says that the chain is literally their soul. So I still have many questions, but overall the chapter was interesting. It was very interesting to learn about Zora's way of fighting. As you know, he doesn't have much magic power, but he's able to come up with clever techniques and ideas to fight. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you for the next Black Clover chapter.